Holy smokes, is Trump really going to be arrested? This is an admission of guilt. Now, who would believe that just a few years ago, many American households had financial freedom, right? But due to a health crisis, many people were victims of layoffs. I mean, like, how many of you guys remember looking up different ways on how to make money online because most of us were stuck at home? But hey, it is not all bad news because the federal government wants to make things right. And they're starting that off by basically informing us that they funded the research in Wuhan, China. Check this out. The Biden administration wants to ban federal funding for the Wuhan virology lab that may have been the origin of the C19 virus. A spokesperson for the Department of Health and Human Services has said that the WIV will not receive another dollar in federal funding given that they failed to provide documentation of what other research that they did there and that the lab probably violated protocols. But wait a second, didn't they say that Fauci didn't fund this, but now funding is being pulled? But wait, isn't this an admission of guilt that funding actually did happen? Oh, sorry, my bad. Fauci didn't fund this. Our taxpayer money probably did. So what do you guys think that their mindset is here? Are they trying to clean their hands, or are they simply just trying to make things right? Now, if the Biden administration wants to make things right, they should probably start by fixing up the perception of people to Bidenomics. Because if you ask the blue collar workers in Philadelphia, they would tell you that they are not fans of the work that Biden has done for the economy. They would say that the small wage increases aren't really making much of a dent in their expenses since everything is so much more expensive now. Now, one worker even went as far as to say that the president should get out of office, literally just fire him, as this will result in the United States being in a better situation economically. Ouch.
Everybody's still getting paid with it, maybe a little more, but nothing, but everything else is going up too, so it just equals out with inflation.
I think as it's a lot of inflations and stuff. I think pay should go up as stuff go up too.
I still have a struggle. Food is up, inflation. My check hasn't really increased. They say they give you 3%, but you don't see it. With taxes, where is it? I don't get enough. You don't pay me enough. And 3% with inflation is nothing. I don't feel it, and I don't see it in my paycheck.
Everything's so high. I mean, food's so expensive right now. It's not even funny. And it just takes away from your, just to feed yourself costs more money. So there's the raise you got, post-pandemic, according to him.
Send them checks out like Trump did, man. We need some checks out here, man. Everybody. Y'all got it. Y'all got the money. Just send everybody a nice check. You feel me?
It's hard to make ends meet sometimes. You got to work. I work as much as I can, so this way I can make ends meet.
You can't stand up here and come right here where all the money is and say that we're better. We're not. We're not.
But let me ask you guys, do any of you feel as if things actually got worse for our finances after President Biden took office? Or have things actually gotten better? By the way, if you guys own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below in this video. Now, hear me out, guys. Were things worse before he was president or now that Biden is president? Do you feel like President Biden hasn't done anything to improve our economy? Now, that's a lot of options for you guys. So, make sure you comment down below what you guys think. And since you're down there already, don't forget to go ahead and hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Now, moving on to some things that are out of this world, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, together with 5 other senators, they want to go ahead and push for a bipartisan legislation that focuses on the U.S. government's alleged secret possession of biological evidence of living or deceased non-human intelligence. Non-human intelligence. Plenty of that going around their circles, huh? Now, I'm just kidding, folks. They mean aliens, all right? So basically, they're saying that the government or private contractors actually have a lot of this evidence and they're not telling us about it. The government not telling the American people the truth? I don't think that's logical. I mean, when was the last time that the federal government lied to us? Come on. Anyway, the proposed legislation follows the allegations from former intelligence official David Grush, who says that there are actual secret programs wherein the government reverse engineers technology from entities that aren't of this world. Senator Marco Rubio on his end says that there's a couple of possible outcomes to these developments. It's either Grush is telling a partial truth, the truth in its entirety, or there are highly educated people who hold important positions in our government who are crazy and are leading us on a wild goose chase. Now, if it's the latter, aren't they just basically wasting taxpayer money? Also, it's not like we're going to be, provided all of this information in an instant. The legislation requires a controlled disclosure campaign plan. That means that the proposed 9-member review board can choose not to disclose any records that they think are too sensitive to release to the public. So wait a second, if this legislation passes, they can do all these investigations without the need to even bother telling us? Well, that sounds like like a goose chase in and of itself. But what do you guys think about this? And while Grush is opening up a lot of eyes, Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is forcing a lot of them shut, as she's in a little bit of hot water as she, well, I don't know. How do I put this? She showed some very explicit images at a controversial hearing. I'll just go ahead and leave it at that. Now, this happened during a hearing regarding IRS whistleblowers that connects an investigation into both the president and the first son. Now, I don't think it would be wise to show you guys, so let me just go ahead and paint the picture here. She printed out photos of Hunter in the nude with a woman that she says was a prostitute. Now, honestly, I ain't trying to see that. You can't unsee that. She asked one of the witnesses that if Hunter brought a ticket for this woman to travel across state lines just for this one specific purpose that I know you guys already get, then this is a violation of the Mann Act. The Mann Act, by the way, makes it illegal to transport any woman or girl for the purpose of prostitution or any other immoral purpose. Now, Jamie Raskin, who is the House's panel's top Democrat, he asked bluntly if this kind of photo should be displayed in front of the committee. Florida Republican Byron Donalds argued that there are materials in schools that kids see that are worse than what Green showed, basically saying that they're being hypocritical about this entire thing. But man, I never thought that we would actually see the day where something like this is actually happening in a congressional hearing. Now, from legal issues of Biden, let's go ahead and move on over to former President Donald Trump, who just can't seem to catch a break with the law, as he's just announced that he might be indicted for yet a third time. That's got to be a record, right? Now, he admitted that, this could lead to a possible arrest, one that might happen in Washington, D.C. of all places. Do you guys think that Trump stands a chance of not being arrested there? And does this all seem like a targeted attack? Isn't it just weird how, we had all this evidence suddenly pop up regarding, Hunter Biden's overseas dealings and questionable acts for years, but we still see the focus of the Justice Department being on Trump? I don't know, guys. It just plays out too well into a narrative that the Biden administration just wants to get rid of the biggest competition for 2024. But again, that's just what it looks like. Now, if you ask his supporters, they would tell you that the president is as fair as can be. Hey, I'm gonna leave that to you guys. Now, one of those supporters is none other than White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, as she says that this is evidence that the President Biden, he is extremely fair.
And then lastly, former President Trump received a letter from the special counsel that he's being investigated for his role in efforts to overturn the 2020 election. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says the Biden administration has decided to, quote, weaponize government to go after their number one opponent, end quote.
I'll say,
weaponize government.
Here's what we have done. The president respects the Department of Justice, their independence. He has been very steadfast on making sure that the rule of law comes back in this administration, comes back in the White House, and clearly the administration more broadly, and that's what you have seen. I'm just not going to comment on this particular case.
Well, there you have it, folks. The Biden administration is not targeting Trump because he's his number one opponent for 2024. He just wants the Department of Justice to act independently, regardless if they're focused on a former president or not. Do any of you guys believe that this is what's really happening? Feel free to get into the conversation in the comment section down below. And as always, appreciate you guys for the continued support and love, the likes, the subscriptions, and I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Be safe.